Today we'll be talking about the distributive property. You may already be familiar with the distributive property, but let's review. The distributive property means that we have to multiply the terms in parentheses by the term outside the parentheses. So each of the terms inside the parentheses needs to be multiplied by the term outside the parentheses. So the first thing we need to do is multiply 4 times 3x. Well, 4 times 3x gives us 12x. Then we need to bring down our plus sign, and now we'll multiply 4 times 8, and that gives us 32. We cannot combine the 12x and the 32 because they are not like terms. This term has an x, this term does not. Okay, so let's try a couple of examples. So we need to multiply 3 by both terms inside the parentheses. 3 times 4x is 12x. Bring down the plus. 3 times 6 is 18. Okay, let's do number 2. Negative 7 needs to be multiplied by both terms inside the parentheses. Negative 7 times 2 is negative 14. Negative 7 times positive 3x is negative 21x. Notice that when my answer is negative, I can indicate that by putting a minus sign in front of the coefficient. Okay, go ahead and try number 3 on your own. Pause the video, get your answer, and then push play to check your answer. So we have to multiply 5 times m and 5 times negative 9. 5 times m is 5m, and 5 times negative 9 is negative 45. Okay, number 4 has 3 terms. Go ahead and pause the video and do that one on your own. Then press play to check your answer. So we need to do 4 times 2m and 4 times negative 6n and 4 times 1. 4 times 2m is 8m. 4 times negative 6n is negative 24n. And 4 times 1 is positive 4. So how do we distribute a negative sign through the parentheses? A negative 4x minus 5 is like saying multiply everything in the parentheses by negative 1. So we'll do negative 1 times 4x. That'll give us negative 4x. And negative 1 times negative 5 gives us positive 5, because multiplying 2 negatives makes a positive. Okay, let's do a few examples from the bottom of the page. There are 2 steps to simplifying an expression. First, we have to remove the parentheses by distributing. After we have distributed, we need to combine like terms, if there are any like terms. Let's start with number 1. So first, distribute the 3 through the parentheses. 3 times 7x is 21x. 3 times 2 is positive 6. Now we're going to bring down the 8x. Let's check for like terms. We have 2 terms that have an x in them. So let's rewrite this expression so that our like terms are next to one another. Now we combine like terms. 21x plus 8x is 29x. Then we bring down the plus 6. These 2 terms cannot be combined because they are not like. This term has an x, this term does not. Okay, press pause on the video and do number 2 on your own, then press play to check your answer. So the first thing you should have done is to distribute the 5 through the parentheses. Remember that we have to multiply before we can add. So let's bring down the 3x because that's not going to change in this step. Now we have 5 times 2x, which is positive 10x. Then we have 5 times 6, which is positive 30. We can see that we have 2 like terms. We have 3x and positive 10x. When we combine those, we get 13x. And then we bring down the plus 30. Again, these 2 terms cannot be combined because one has an x and one does not. Okay, we're going to skip number 3 and go on to, we're going to skip 3 and 4 actually and go on to number 5. So the first thing we need to do here is to distribute through the parentheses. Now we are going to distribute a negative 3. Why a negative 3? Because there's a minus sign in front of this 3. So that's like saying multiply everything in the parentheses by a negative 3. First, let's bring down the 6m minus 14 because those aren't going to change in this step. Negative 3 times 3m is negative 9m. Negative 3 times positive 7 is negative 21. Now let's identify like terms. So the terms with m are alike, and then the constants are alike. Let's rewrite the expression so that we have the like terms next to each other. Notice that when I rewrite, wherever this number moves, that minus sign moves along with it. So now we need to do 6m minus 9m. Remember that subtracting is the same as adding the opposite, or adding a negative. So we're doing 6m plus 9m. Because the negatives have more, they're going to win. They're going to win by 3, so the answer is negative 3m. Now we have negative 14 minus 21. We could also say that as negative 14 plus a negative 21. So we've got 14 on the negative team, and we're going to add another 21 to the negative team, which will give us a total of negative 35. And notice how I indicate that the 35 is negative by putting a minus in front of it. Okay, press pause, do number 6 on your own, then press play to check your answer. So we need to multiply everything in the first set of parentheses by 2. So 2 times 4m is 8m. 2 times positive 5 is positive 10. Now everything in this set of parentheses is going to be multiplied by negative 8. Negative 8 times m is negative 8m. Negative 8 times positive 1 is negative 8. So now to identify and combine like terms. We have 2 terms with m. We have 2 terms that are constants. They have no variable. So we're going to gather our like terms together. Okay. 8m minus 8m is 0. We could say 0m, but 0m is just the same as saying 0. If I have 0 m's, I have nothing. I have 0. Okay, plus 10 minus 8. Well, 10 minus 8 is a positive 2, plus 2, and 0 plus 2 is 2. Okay, one more example. Let's look at example 7. Okay, what are we going to distribute through this set of parentheses here? It only has a negative sign in front of it, or a minus sign. It does not have any number. So we're just going to write in a 1. So that means we need to multiply everything in parentheses by -1. First, we're going to bring down the 4 because that is not changing this step. Now we multiply -1 times 2x. That'll give us -2x. Multiply -1 times 7. That gives us -7. Then bring down the plus x. Identify like terms. We have 2 terms with x in them, and we have 2 terms that are constants. So let's rewrite so that our like terms are beside each other. And notice that when I move a term, if there's a minus sign or a plus sign in front of it, that moves along with it. So 4 minus 7. We can also write that as 4 plus -7. 4 plus -7 is -3. Now we have -2x plus x. Remember, when there's no coefficient in front of a variable, we can write a 1 in there. So we have -2x plus 1x, which is going to give us -1x. So -3 minus 1x, another way of writing that is just -3 minus x. Either of these answers would be correct. Okay, that's all for today. We'll see you in class tomorrow.